Hey everyone, it's Ollie Lindley here from One Number, and today we're going to take a look at how to show and hide columns in a text table just based off of a parameter selection. So this is super useful if you're building a dashboard for someone who wants to see all the information, but perhaps presenting that information just in a massive text table is visually overwhelming. And so what you could do is sort of present a summary table or a high level table and then allow them to drill down or reveal those columns just based off of this parameter selection. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put the power to select whether you want to see more or less information in the hands of our end users. So if you want to follow along, this workbook is in the description below. It's just on Tableau Public. You can download it and see what I've done or follow along, build along with me. Otherwise, if you want to start from scratch, I'm just using Sample Superstore. So feel free to fire that up and we'll take it from there. So this is kind of what it looks like. I've built this big table that, you got to do a lot of scrolling to see what's going on here. But if I switch this little parameter to hide, now you can see I've really squashed down the number of columns. And all I have now is a profit and a sales amount for, profit and a sales column, right, for each region. And if you want to see that at a year level, you can just kind of hit the drop down and say show. So we're going to build this table. So I'm going to go to sheet 2. Let's think what we want to see. Regions and years, I think we had, and then categories and subcategories. So nice and big, you can add some more stuff if you want, go wild. But this is what we're going to base our text table off. Then I'm going to double click and add sales, and I'm going to double click and add profit. If you just drag profit over, it's going to look kind of weird. So make sure you just double click on your second measure. Now, one thing to point out is that profit and sales are sitting here. So they're kind of like on a, one row on top of the other, not really what I want. And that's just because measure names, which represents this profit and sales over there, measure values and measure names, is on the rows shelf. So all I'm going to do, it's super easy. You can just drag measure names onto the columns shelf. And now you can see we've got a new column for each year. For profit and sales. But I think I want and this is up to you, but I think what I want is one column for profit, one column for sales, and then break that down by year. So just moving measure names around as we go. Okay, let's add some totals. So I'm going to go to analytics, I'm going to take totals, and I'm going to add some subtotals is what I want. Cool. Now again, this is personal preference. I'm going to take out these subtotals here. And to do that, I'm just going to right click on category. You see how these are basically the category totals? So I'm just going to right click on that dimension and uncheck subtotals. And we're good to go. Okay. So now what I want you to be able to do is to hit the drop down, right, and say hide and hide all this year level information. So what are we going to do? I'm going to create a parameter first, and I'm just going to call this, show hide, true, false, anything like that is fine. And I'm going to select a Boolean data type. And true, you could leave it as true and false, but I'm just going to type in show and hide. Okay. And then let's show that. Beautiful. Okay, so let's create a calculated field now. Why? Because a parameter is not going to do anything unless you can connect it to a calculated field. So I'm going to call this show hide, and we're going to say if our show hide parameter, then true, else, false, end. So what is this saying? It's basically just saying if if this show hide parameter is true, then true. Otherwise, false. We're linking this up to our show hide, remember? So we're going to say, okay, cool. If the show hide parameter is show, then show, it's true. Otherwise, it's false. I'll show you exactly what this does. So we're going to hit OK, and I'm going to drop this onto columns. Now, it might be useful to put this right at the end of the columns shelf so that you can have a little true heading for each of these as you go along. If you move the show and hide further back along the column shelf, you notice it just pops up a little bit. What does that mean? It just means you have less granularity when determining what you want to show and what you want to hide. At the moment, if I wanted to hide this little, all the columns under true, it would hide all these years. But here I can select which one. So anyway, probably too much of a deep dive for what we're going to do. Now, honestly, the easy part is we're going to go switch the parameter to hide. You'll see that true has changed to false. I'm going to right click and I'm just going to select hide for those columns. And so now when my parameter says hide, those are going to hide. Once I flick that back to show, here they are, and they're all through. So you can really make this as complicated as you want it to be, which is super cool. And you can use it in other situations too, you know, not only with a text table, there are lots of other instances. And I hope that this is super helpful. If you want to learn more about Tableau, why not come and join us for one of our courses? We've got a load of really exciting courses lined up for the end of the year and into the new year, and we'd love to see you there. All right, if you've got any other questions, pop them in the comments. Otherwise, we'll see you at the next one. Awesome.